The night was cruel, the kind of cold that doesn't just sting your skin but seeps deep into your bones, whispering despair into the cracks of the soul. Snow, covering the streets of New York in a white silence that felt almost sacred. If not for the sharp bite of hunger and loneliness that haunted those who had nowhere to go. Inside a warm black SUV, a little girl with chestnut curls pressed her tiny palms against the frosted window, her eyes widening at the sight outside. "Daddy," she whispered, her voice trembling. That lady's holding a baby?" Her father, Alexander Reed, CEO of one of the biggest real estate firms in Manhattan, was too busy on a call discussing year-end mergers. The glow from his Bluetooth earpiece painted his jawline a soft blue as he muttered figures and forecasts that barely meant anything to anyone except him and the boardroom full of wolves waiting to devour profit. But then his daughter's voice cracked, soft, pleading, yet piercing enough to cut through the storm of his mind. "Daddy," she said again, tugging on his sleeve now. Her baby is freezing." And that was it. The phone call ended mid-sentence. "What?" Alexander's tone softened instantly as he leaned closer to the window. There, under the dim glow of a flickering streetlight, huddled a young woman. Her clothes were soaked. Her hands clutched a tiny bundle wrapped in a torn blanket. She wasn't moving much, just rocking back and forth, humming something too faint to hear. The driver looked through the mirror. "Sir, should I?" "Stop the car," Alexander ordered, already reaching for the door handle. Before he stepped out into the storm, his little girl Lily, 7 years old, heart too big for her tiny chest, looked up at him with teary eyes. "Please help them, Daddy." And that's when the story truly began. Has CTAM won? Before we go deeper into this heartwarming story, if you believe kindness can change the world, make sure to like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Soul Spark for more real, emotional stories that touch the heart. Alexander's polished leather shoes sank into the snow as he approached the woman. "Ma'am," he called gently, crouching down. "Hey, can you hear me?" The woman flinched, instinctively clutching her baby tighter. Her lips were pale, almost blue, and her eyes had that lost, faraway look of someone who had gone too long without warmth, food, or hope. "Please," she whispered hoarsely. Don't take her." Alexander froze for a moment, the words striking him harder than the wind. "No one's taking her," he said softly. "You're safe now. Let me help." Lily peeked from the car, her breath fogging up the window. "Daddy?" "She looks like a princess, but sad." Her father took off his expensive wool coat and draped it over the woman's trembling shoulders. The baby whimpered, a tiny sound that shattered the night's stillness like glass. When the blanket shifted, Alexander caught a glimpse of the baby's face. It was red and cold, the little lips trembling in half-silent cries. He could feel panic rising in his chest. He'd seen boardrooms collapse, millions lost overnight, but nothing had ever scared him like this fragile little sound. "Sir," the driver said, "hospital's just 5 minutes away." "No, my place," Alexander interrupted. "It's closer." The woman tried to protest, but her voice was too weak. Within moments, she and her baby were gently carried into the warmth of the SUV. Lily scooted closer, tucking her tiny hands around the baby's feet. "It's okay, little one," she whispered. "You'll be warm soon." Inside the car, something unexplainable filled the air. It wasn't just pity. It was something far deeper, a quiet awakening. Alexander's penthouse, a modern palace of glass and marble, had never felt so alive. The woman, her name was Emma, sat on the couch wrapped in a blanket. Lily insisted on fetching herself. The baby, barely 6 months old, now slept in Lily's lap, safe and bundled. As Emma sipped hot soup with trembling hands, tears welled in her eyes. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice cracking. "I didn't mean to scare you. I just didn't know where else to go. The shelters were full. They said come back tomorrow, but my baby..." Her words broke. She covered her mouth, ashamed to cry in front of strangers. Alexander sat across from her, elbows on his knees, listening quietly. "You don't have to apologize," he said. "What's her name?" "Grace," Emma whispered. "Her name's Grace." Lily smiled softly. "That's a beautiful name." There was a long silence, then filled only with the hum of the fireplace. Outside, the snow kept falling, but inside, something was thawing, a warmth that had nothing to do with the flames. Over the next few days, Alexander found himself thinking less about stocks and more about soup recipes. He found himself standing in the Baby Islet Target, not knowing what half the products did, and he found himself smiling, really smiling. For the first time in months, every time Lily giggled as Grace tried to grab her curls. But behind Emma's tired smiles there was something still hidden, a shadow she couldn't shake. One evening, as the city lights shimmered against the window, Alexander asked her quietly, "Emma, what happened? Why were you out there?" Emma hesitated, clutching Grace a little tighter. "I used to work in a hotel," she began softly. "I was a housekeeper. My husband, he left when I was pregnant. I tried to manage alone, but when Grace got sick, I couldn't keep up with the bills. I lost my job, then my apartment. I've been moving from shelter to shelter ever since." Her voice faltered. I thought if I just made it through one more night, maybe tomorrow would be better. But last night was so cold and Grace wouldn't stop crying. I didn't know what else to do." Alexander's throat tightened. He looked over at Lily, who had fallen asleep on the rug beside Grace's tiny blanket. The innocence of his daughter, the way she'd noticed what he almost didn't, haunted him. He realized how blind he'd been. He had all the warmth, all the comfort, yet had forgotten the world beyond his glass walls. Days turned into weeks. Emma found her strength again, helped by good food, warmth, and a strange but growing friendship with the little family that had saved her. She even started helping around the penthouse, often laughing with Lily as they baked cookies that somehow always came out burnt but delicious. And slowly, something beautiful bloomed in the cracks of broken lives. For the first time since his wife's death 3 years ago, Alexander found himself smiling with someone new. Emma's kindness wasn't loud or forced. It was quiet, genuine, healing. He caught himself lingering in the kitchen longer than necessary just to hear her hum softly as she cooked. But happiness, it seemed, wasn't done testing them yet. One night Alexander came home late from a business meeting to find the penthouse dark. Emma and Lily were gone. The only thing left was a note on the counter. "Thank you for everything. I can't let you risk your life and reputation for me. You've done enough. Grace deserves a mother who stands on her own." The paper trembled in his hands. For the first time in years, Alexander felt fear, not for deals or deadlines, but for losing something that actually mattered. He called his driver. "Find her. Check every shelter, every station, everywhere." Hours later, he spotted her. Emma, holding Grace, walking along the bridge as snow began to fall again. He pulled over, shouting against the wind, "Emma! Don't you dare disappear on us again." She turned, startled, tears streaming down her face. "Alexander, you don't understand." "I do," he interrupted, stepping closer. "You're scared. You don't want to be a burden, but listen to me. You're not. You saved me too. You reminded me what it means to care. Lily needs you, Grace needs you, and maybe," his voice broke, "maybe I need you, too." Emma's sobs melted into the snow as she finally allowed herself to be held, not by charity, but by someone who truly saw her. CTA2E. If this story has touched your heart, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Soul Spark for more stories that remind us that kindness still exists. In the months that followed, Emma became more than a guest. She became family. Grace's laughter filled the halls, Lily had a sister to play with, and Alexander, he had something he hadn't known he'd lost, a reason to slow down, to breathe, to live. On a bright spring morning, as the flowers bloomed outside the window, Lily came running to the breakfast table, jiggling. "Daddy! Grace just called Emma, Mama!" Emma blushed, but Alexander only smiled, his eyes glistening with emotion. "That's because she is," he said softly. The little girl's innocent words had sealed what fate had already written. Sometimes family isn't just about blood. It's about who stays when the night is cold, who warms your soul when the world turns away. And in that home once built from marble and glass, something far stronger now stood within: love, reborn from compassion. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness create ripples that heal hearts you didn't even know were broken. Alexander, Lily, Emma, and baby Grace proved that one moment of compassion on a freezing night could change 4 lives forever. Because in a world that often forgets to feel, love, real love, still finds its way through the storm.